officially 26 days to the kickoff of the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations in Côte d'Ivoire. Once again, we welcome you to our daily countdown to that the biggest football showpiece on the continent. My name is Ashalolu Afemi, Kyle Ogundari, and James Agberebi. They are here. Of course, today we will be doing the talking. Today we'll be going to South Africa. We'll be going straight into the camp of the Bafana. Of course, they are one-time winner, and of course, they've not won it since 1996. We'll be looking at the preparation. Of course, Coach Hugo Broos has released his provisional list, and that is the stage almost all the countries are currently. But before we go on, of course, we'd like to just give a shout out to Alali, of course, for reaching the semi-final of the ongoing FIFA Club World Cup in Saudi Arabia. They defeated Al Ittihad 3-1, and today, on Monday, they will be taking on Brazilian champions or South American champions, Fluminense. So, of course, it's an awesome way to start the show today. Guys, once again, you're welcome to our daily countdown.
Thank you very much, Femi.
Yeah, thank you, Femi.
All right, okay, guys. Like I said, let's go to let's enter the camp of the Bafana of South Africa. They've not won it since 1996, and of course, in 1990 they reached the final again. They lost to Egypt. Kayode, you will want to ask yourself that will Hugo Broos, considering all that has happened with the national team over time, they've changed coaches, tried to, even make do with local coaches, the likes of Jomosono, of course, Baxter, but not seems to be working. But this time, of course, they have the person of Hugo Broos. Do you think Hugo Broos will be able to deliver the second title for South Africa? Bearing in mind that if you even look at the professional list, almost all the players are home-based. Would you say he might likely be able to maybe at least reach a semi-final bat this time, or even shock the whole world?
I think, first and foremost, let me say, he's a very, very experienced coach. He has been around Africa a lot. He was with Cameroon in 2017. I remember him leading Cameroon to play the Super Eagles in the World Cup qualifiers. He knows his game. He knows African football very, very well. But the problem with South Africa is that they are short on talent. And I do not mean that as a disrespect. But the fact is, they won in 1996. They were an unknown quantity when they won. So a lot of things just worked in their favor. They were playing at home. It was their first AFCON. They were playing in front of a very, very intimidating home crowd. The Mandela factor was also there. Don't forget that a year earlier, they had won the Rugby World Cup. So they won the AFCON. Of course, some Nigerians will say, oh, because the Nigerians were not there. But I tell you, even if Nigeria had been there, he might not have stopped the South Africans, although you must also not forget again that Nigeria beat them in the qualifiers for the 1994 World Cup in Lagos, and they drew in Soweto. So for me, since then, they've been on a downward trajectory. In 1996, they won. In 1998, they got to the final. In 2000, they were in the semi-finals. And since then, they just disappeared without a trace. Are they able to get to the semi-finals, you say? Femi, I do not rate them that highly. Although I must also say that they had a very decent team in 2019 when they lost to Nigeria. They had a pretty decent team. If they hadn't met Nigeria at that stage, maybe they would have gone a bit further. So if you're talking about the semi-finals, Femi, I have 4 teams, which I will reveal to you later. Would I tip?
Not now.
Not now. That I'm already tipping to get to the final, to the last 4.
Okay, Ghana and Nigeria, I guess.
I'm not saying anything.
Okay, James, let's talk about the fact that most of the players on that professional list, I'm sure you've seen it, they are home-based. Would you say that the fact that South African players do not have the exposure to European football is a disadvantage, and is one of the reasons why they've not been doing well in AFCON since 2000, like how they already highlighted? Would you say that the fact that they are only limited to, we saw Pesitao arguably is their biggest footballer right now, but he's come back to Africa to even play football once again. He left Brighton. Would you say that it's a disadvantage that has been working against them all along?
Femi, I think just like what Kyle said, talent-wise, I think they are running out of it. For me, I remember in the 90s when they had the likes of Mark Fish, Eric Sinclair, Toby, Dr. Kumalu, Phil Masinga.
Radebe.
Lucas Radebe, you know, even when they now got to 98, when they now discovered Benny McCarthy, I think from 2000 they just kind of dropped off, and you just like it's only Pesitao that you can really point out, and this is somebody who plays in Africa and for Al Ahly, you know. So for me, Femi, they have one of the best leagues and everything, but sometimes when all those things doesn't count when you don't have the talent to back those things up. I mean, what's the essence of having the best stadiums or the best whatever you can think of? They are the only country from the sub-Saharan that can match the North Africans. But talent-wise, I mean, they can't. It doesn't match. There's no balance there. So for me, I think the talent pool has drastically reduced. That's why it's not by mistake that they are not doing well at major tournaments. The last time they got to they played at the World Cup was when they hosted in 2010. Since then, they've missed the following the last 3 editions. You know, so I don't know. When it comes to academy, when it comes to having the kind of affiliations with foreign clubs, you normally find them doing all these things, but it's not enough. When you don't have that's the difference between them and the likes of Nigeria, Ghana, Senegal. These are countries that, in terms of talent, but when it comes to the other aspect, we all use the talent to. So for me, I think wise they don't have it for now. That pool right up.
Okay, you and Kari, you've highlighted the problem in South African football and how it has bedeviled their development in terms of achievement over time. I would want Kari to speak to that much later. But James, I'll still ask you, would you say that even the crop of players that they have, like the likes of Pesitao and the likes, the fact that they are not exposed to European football, would you say it's also a disadvantage, apart from the fact that they have a shortage of talent?
Well, it could be because sometimes you need your top player to play at the highest level. It's not enough to just sit back at home and you think because you have the facilities and everything. So sometimes this exposure it goes a long way. Egypt's best player, Mohamed Salah, plays in England. You know, you still have the likes of Mohamed El Neni and a few of them. They still find they have a huge chunk of their players playing at home, but the key guys, they don't play at home. The Moroccan team that did well at the World Cup, almost everybody play abroad. You know, so you need all this exposure. It's not just enough to just sit back at home and in your comfort zone and think because you feel you have the facilities, you have the sponsorship and what have you. The days when this Bafana when they were in the 90s, Lucas Radebe is a legend in Leeds United. McFish, Sean Bartlett, all these guys are playing abroad. And
Bartlett in Charlton Athletic, yeah.
Exactly. Benny McCarthy helped FC Porto win the Champions League in 2004. You know, Quentin Fortune was playing at Manchester United, even though he was not United, but he was part of the team. You know, so I mean, you can't rule this out. You know, so you need your top guys to play at the top level so that you have that exposure. So at the end of the day, it will count for them. So for me, it's not everybody that can be like Egypt, who have most of their players playing at home, but the key guys, they still play abroad.
Okay, well said, James. Of course, I will have wanted us to draw a comparison between the Egypt that won the CAF, the Nations Cup back to back. Most of those players also play at home. Then, but South Africa, they have most of their players playing at home, but it's a different kettle of fish entirely for them. Kayode, please, I want you to walk us through what you think is the reason why talent is a shortage in South Africa, because like we've said, they have the best talent, the best facility, I meant to say, when it comes to stadia, even remuneration. I'm sure they have one of the best in Africa. But why is there shortage of talent in the football? In Nigeria, in Ghana, in Cameroon, Senegal, you see talent everywhere. And what we lament mostly, even right on Sports Africa, is the fact that we do not have a system that collects this talent and nurture them to greatness. But why do you think South Africa have shortage of talent?
Well, I think football is just not one of the areas where they have comparative advantage. I mean, when you talk about cricket, rugby, they are the best on the continent, but they do not have that kind of advantage in football. So it is a problem, but that's for footballers and football fans.
Maybe the offended god of soccer
in South Africa, but for them, they see it as just one out of many sports. So, and there's a limit to you can harness talent, but you cannot grow it on the farm or in a lab, Femi. Let's not deceive ourselves. When they don't have the same problem with teams like Nigeria and Ghana and Cameroon. What we lack is organization, tactical discipline. They have organization, but they do not even have the talent. It's just like you having a brand new car without a driver. I mean, the car is not going to drive itself. So you need if you have a good car, you should also have if you not have a driver that is not too perfect, you can teach him to be better. But when you do not have the driver at all, is a problem. And for me, one thing that is curious is the fact that Pitso Mosimane is not their head coach. I feel if he is, he would have a much deeper connection with the players. I've been a South African like the players, because he has proven himself, Femi.
Okay.
He did it in South Africa. He has done it in Egypt. So he doesn't have anything to prove to anybody. Although that I'm not taking anything away from Hugo Broos, he is a very, very talented, a very, very good coach who knows his onions. And for me, one of the most profound statements ever said by any coach on the continent of Africa was by this same Hugo Broos. I remember him saying in 2017, while discussing African football generally, he said the kind of talent in Africa is amazing. But that if he was not using the Cameroon team, for example, and the Nigerian team, he said if for 30 days, the Nigerian players will just concentrate on football alone and nothing else, they are capable of beating anybody. No distraction, nothing, just football. And he said the same for Cameroon and Ghana and the rest, that if all we think about is just football, if you are focused, nobody's talking about match bonuses, camp allowances, whether they have flight tickets or nothing, just concentrate on football. Everything is taken care of, that they are potential would be beaters. So I agree with him when he said it, and I'm still saying that he is a good choice for South Africa, even though I would have preferred the Pitso. But those are the reasons why I think they are not doing well in soccer.
Okay, thank you, guys. Well put together. South Africa, of course, they are in Group E of the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations, in the same group with Tunisia, Mali, and Namibia. That's going to be some test for Hugo Broos and his players. Of course, Hugo Broos has been trying to put together a very good preparation for the team as much as he can. They started a local campaign, and of course, we do not know if they will be campaign outside of Africa for this time. And of course, Confederation of African Football has opened the portal for scouts who would like to come to, of course, the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations for registration and all that. So things are actually getting in gear for that tournament. So, of course, tomorrow we'll be bringing you another daily countdown. Tomorrow we'll be going to another country. We've told you that it's going to be discussing all the 24 teams that have qualified for the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations. Guys, thank you so much for your analysis today.
Yes, thank you, Femi. See you tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. So to our fans around the world, please subscribe to our channel. We just took you to South Africa tomorrow. Perhaps it's going to be your country. We'll be telling you how well your country are preparing for the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations. We'll see you all tomorrow. Bye for now.